This is a Freeman Maple that has been planted about 3 years ago. And when I look at a tree like this, I see that we've got poor quality. First of all, when you look at the crown relative to the trunk, we call this the live crown ratio, which needs to be at least 60%, which means that if you have a 10-foot tree, this crown should be at least 6 feet in height. So that's a problem on this one, where we've got this bare trunk, we've got a mushroom-like canopy, and then we also have all of these branches that seem to emanate from very close to one another along the central trunk of that tree. And so when I walk around and look at the crown, I see that we don't have any pyramidal shape. I see that these branches all emanate very close to one another from single points on the main trunk. And we don't have the central leader, which is that dominant feature which we need on all trees that create that wonderful pyramidal shape. And so in short, what we have here is poor architecture, a tree that will not have the benefits of the ornamental attributes, but also the energy savings relative to shading, to protecting us from any wind movement. And also, what really is difficult is that this tree is not sound. So in the event of storm events, all of those crowded branches that are located one on top of the other can break during winter storms, but also during summer storms relative to wind or hail. What I like about this Freeman Maple, it looks like from the time it was in the nursery to the time it was sold, it was trained properly because of the wonderful architectural framework. I'm looking at these two lateral limbs on either side of the main trunk, and we see this raised branch bark ridge. That is a very good sign that we have a strong connection between the lateral limb and the main trunk. Know also that these lateral limbs are less than 1/2 the diameter of the main trunk. That's a really good sign. And then when I step back and look at the overall crown, I mean, what a difference relative to the crown and the overall height of the tree. We've got probably 70% of crown tissue or a canopy on this tree. Now, ideally, what I would love to have seen are these lateral limbs not 4 feet from the ground, but perhaps 10 or 12 feet off the ground. But beggars can't be choosy. Out of all the species of Freeman Maple, as you looked here, we've got this beautiful, strong central leader, the dominant trunk that is taller than the side limbs around it. And so we've got somewhat of a pyramidal shape. Now, ideally, what should be done is pruning needs to be done to maintain that pyramidal shape and to subordinate or make sure that those side or lateral limbs are not going to compete with that central or tallest limb on this tree. So I'm very fond of this one, but like all trees, as we put them in our landscapes, you cannot plant and forget. You have to come back and periodically prune them to make sure that you maintain that central leader and continue to support the architectural framework of branches.